What up, though? This is Knockouts in 3 Counts. But before we bring you another episode of Podcast Gold, let me tell you about the homies over at Michigan's Finest. Do you ever find yourself trying to get yourself together and thinking, man, this is going to be a great night, but I'm looking for that little extra something? Well, check out our friends at Michigan Finest. If you are into medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, concentrates, vapes, anything of that sort, Michigan's Finest has got you covered. And as you can see here, it's all easily done by their website. It's all curbside, and you'll be in and out in 2 minutes. And they're family owned and operated, so customer service is their number one goal. And now, since they are rocking with Knockouts in 3 Counts, use the code KO3MF. Yes, that's KO3MF. You get 10% off your entire order, but that does exclude featured items and items that are already on sale. But if you use that code, you're getting 10% off your items, and I promise you, either if you're looking for that big knockout or you're ready to hit the sheets for that 3 count, Michigan's Finest will get you together. Tell them Knockouts in 3 Counts sent you, and I promise you, you're going to be having a great night. Peace.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Rock, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts in 3 Counts.
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts in 3 Counts is the podcast, baby. It's the real deal, baby.
Knockouts in 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? I have managed to survive. I've returned from the road to WrestleMania, and damn it, that means I gotta sling the mail again, but this is Knockouts in 3 Counts, and damn it, I had a good fucking time. So I am got a lot to talk about here. Shout out to the homie Megaran. I always appreciate you. You know, it's funny. The last time I was in LA, I was with Megaran too. And man, do we got a lot to talk about here. WrestleMania week was dope. WrestleMania was dope. The Raw after WrestleMania was a little awkward. WrestleCon party was awesome. Big Swole in the building. Wale Mania and more. I got a lot to talk about. Corey, J-Bone, how the hell you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad we're starting to experience that bit of spring starting to kick in. You know,
they sure didn't in California. What the fuck?
Other than the fact the rain's kicking our ass a little bit, but you know, happy for the weather change bit. And other than that, man, ready to hear some stories from your past weekend.
I got the WrestleMania hangover, bro. I want more wrestling. I want more and more and more wrestling. That's all I want. Great weekend and wrestling at its finest, dude. Every WrestleMania weekend, there's always not just WrestleMania. There's always good wrestling around it too. So always fun to watch it all weekend long.
You're not lying, dude. Like literally, and when you say watching it all weekend long, that was literally the sum of my week, man. I got wrestle overload this week from Thursday to Tuesday. Your boy was out there and getting it. If you were following along, what up, though, Chris? We're talking WrestleMania weekend. You'll have to let me know what your thoughts were on the shows and all that. Anybody who's coming in, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you drop those comments. Let me know what you liked, didn't like, all that stuff when it comes to WrestleMania. If you were there, let me know what you checked out. I don't know. I guess we should kind of start in order. I got there Thursday morning and we kind of hit the ground running, dude. It was I was out there with Megaran and our homie Marcos. I mean, I'm a little jealous right now because he got to go right from LA to Florida and I'm back here in Michigan. But you know, we started it out hot and heavy, bro. Shout out to the homies from Circle 6. If you guys are fans of Circle 6, you can check out our interviews with Jake, Chris, Vinny Massaro, and the owner of Circle 6, Mike Gavorgian. I got to go see them and our good friend Lindsay Snow, who you can also check out in recent episodes. And man, they were getting after it. And then I got to see two guys who we see a lot around here around Michigan, and Hoodfoot and MM3 just beat the shit out of each other. I mean, like hitting each other, throwing cinder blocks at each other. And yeah, dude, it got pretty gnarly at Circle 6, crosses and caskets, and they ended it off with a casket match between JTG coming from Brooklyn against AJ Gray. So yeah, dude, shout out to the homies from Circle 6. We also saw Vinny Massaro's show while we were out there, and Mega Ran was your special guest ring announcer for Crosses and Caskets. So Thursday got pretty gnarly before we went to Wale Mania.
I got to see that on live, actually. I got to see Mega Ran out there holding the mic. That was pretty cool, man. It's cool to see Hoodfoot out there representing, man. And MM3, always great stuff from MM3. Circle 6 puts on a show, man. I'm excited for them to come back around.
You're not kidding, man. Shout out to Mike. They had shows all weekend. They definitely did their thing with what was going on. Hoodfoot is somebody I'm looking forward to bringing to the show as well. Saw one of your stickers at a BP gas station in Dearborn. Yeah. Well, shit, at least somebody knows.
Who put that there? I wonder who put that there.
Oh,
hell yeah. Make sure you fucking subscribe. Them stickers are doing their job, damn it. Speaking of stickers, bro. Oh my God.
If you need one, we got you. Okay.
We got stickers. We got stickers. And shout out to the
stack so I can keep tagging the local
I gotta get more
community.
We gotta get more stickers. That's the thing. If you want some stickers, let us know. With that being said, WrestleCon was all weekend too. We were also at the table with Mega Ran at the CEO Matt Mania table. I got to talk to Butterbean over there, which that was an interesting one. Absolutely. His table was right directly across from us. He may be coming to a show near you real soon. With that being said, there was name a name and you could find him, and it was gnarly, dude. You had Tanahashi was in there, Mark Briscoe, the Lucha Brothers, RVD, Greg the Hammer Valentine, ran into the homie Chris Van Vliet. Check out our chat with him. Little Birdie told me you might hear him on here again soon. You also got, we also ran into XPW champion Masada, who's a past guest of the show. Ran into him at the hotel bar. Also ran into Jake Christ while we were down there. Dude, WrestleMania weekend for me has just become like a meetup with the homies at this point, because literally like everybody is in one fucking spot, and it was just gnarly, dude. It was like we were hitting the ground running, and we're going from the time I got there to the time I left. I mean, literally last night I was out till 1:30 in the morning and had to be on a 9 o'clock flight. So
that rock star life, man. That's that rock star WrestleMania life,
man.
Look, bro, I don't get out very often. I'm always usually too busy slinging the mail.
Wait, how was Wale Mania? Tell me about Wale Mania, because that's like
more about that
crossover mix of hip hop and wrestling, man. It just brings everybody together. Tell me about that.
Well, this is where what I was getting to next. First of all, shout out to Emilio. Emilio, stop ducking me, damn it. We need to bring you on the show. It was good to see Emilio and Big Swole and Dashing Chris Bay and the homies Andreas and Kel from the Corner Podcast and DAZN and ESPN, respectively. Those two were just on the move. Andreas had no voice by the time we got to the party at the JW Marriott. Man, it was a good time. I didn't get on stage with Mega Ran because there was like 500 motherfuckers in the VIP. Or at backstage, I should say. But dude, it was nuts. You had West Side Gun came through there again. You had Smoke Dizza in there. You had Wale performed. He was dancing Jade Cargill around again. Street Profits. Man, just Ricochet. Adam Cole, baby. We got some stories about Adam Cole. And the Dr. DMD, literally, bro, there was people all through there. Outlandish Zicky Dice. I saw him in his pink suit, man. It was gnarly. El Hijo del Vikingo. Literally, bro. Like, say a name and there probably was there. Ricky Starks.
Name them and they were there, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. It was a good time.
I bet, man.
That sounds like it. It sounds.
WrestleMania weekend ain't nothing better.
Yeah,
Dude,
it seems like Wale Mania is turning into quite the event, man. I hear everybody and their brother that's talking about WrestleMania as not just a 2-day event when they're talking about WrestleMania as a whole. It seems to be brought up nearly every time I hear about people's WrestleMania experience. So he must be doing something right with that event that he puts on every year. Because
well,
yeah, man,
it's
he's got
crazy
some
too
serious hype
because
behind it.
the thing is, bro, it's it's not just the performances, man. They have like a live podcast that goes on when the thing first starts. I believe the Usos were on there. The Usos were there. You had Solo was there. And then it was really cool. Shout out to Andreas and them. They really they gave Big E kind of a tribute for what he's been doing. Because I mean, when you think about it, it's crazy to think he's been around for like 13 years, bro. And I mean, him getting that world title run and then breaking his neck and all that stuff, it was cool to see him shout it out because he's always doing such cool things to try to advance things. Hey, yo, Brock, you got to tell me what you thought of WrestleMania right now. We're talking about Wale Mania. Wale threw it the fuck down, man, doing the concert in there as well. Alcohol was a little pricey, but it's usually always pricey.
Sounds about right.
But all in all, dude, yeah, Wale Mania was a badass time. And then that wasn't even the best part. Then at the end of it, so we're walking out and we're all in a big group, like Chris Bay, Mega Ran, me, Emilio was out there with us. And then who do I see but one of the homies from the Evolve days? Any of you that have been following us for any length of time know that we used to do some stuff with the Evolve guys, hence why we were able to interview a young Austin Theory, Josh Briggs, who's on NXT. We've gotten to talk with quite a few people, but one that I've wanted to talk with since we were doing those Evolve things for many reasons was Big Swole. We've seen her in AEW and all those things, and she's been kind of doing her thing, but with me having Crohn's and all those kind of things, man, it's it was really cool. It was the first time I've seen her in like 4 years. We met at StarCast 3 right after I got to interview DDP, and she ran up, gave me a big bear hug. We ran into each other a few times. We got to smash some bomb ass chicken with her and Faye Jackson. That shit was good. 2 tenders filled me up. If you're ever over there, Cluckin' Chicken, you check them out. They're a little pricey, but the chicken tenders are like these. Big old thick boys, dude. It was hell yeah, dude. It was a damn good time. It was great to see so many people. And then that was, like I said, that was pretty much night one, dude. I love it. Keep the comments coming. Kyle, how are you still alive after all that excitement? Well, Joey, good question. I'm really half dead, to be honest with you.
Did you get any sleep at all?
Well, I got home at about 1:30 last night. I went to bed at about 2:30 last night. And then by the time I had to get up for the airport, it was like 7 or 8. So not a whole lot. We were ripping and running, bro. And it was windy as a son of a bitch down there after Raw last night, which we're going to get to the Raw after Mania and what happened. But yeah, man, I had a damn good time. I was all over the place, as you can see, if you're following us at KO3C Pod. And shout out to all the new followers, new subscribers, all that stuff as well, because we had quite the jump while we was out there in LA as well. So we appreciate you for that. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit those like buttons and let us know what you thought of WrestleMania. As for Friday, we went to the diversity panel, which featured Faye Jackson, Big Swole, Andreas Hale. I'm trying to remember who else was on there because we got there a little bit late. We did that, and then we all went to go see Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. And man, yes, the spot of that show that everybody is talking about. Holy shit. Prayers to Dante Martin and his ankle. But Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor was a badass show, bro. J-Bone, what'd you think of that one?
Hey, I was so excited for that. It was great to finally see Eddie Kingston get the shot right at the title. God dang it, Kyle. I know we've been talking about this for a long time, but when is Eddie going to get the gold, man? Eddie needs some gold. Him and Claudio's rivalry going all the way back, man. Like that was such a good main event for a Ring of Honor show. You know what I mean? Like that just fit perfect.
Oh,
so
yeah,
dude. Other than that, dude, that, like I said, the buzz around that card just being the start pretty much of the big, wrestling shows for Mania weekend. That was a good way to start it. What a hell of a card, hell of a spot with Dante Martin. But all of that, other than that, man, that pay-per-view was great. Loved it.
Yeah, dude, it was banger from top to bottom. Shout out to Athena, who retained her title as well. You had El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander just fucking killed it. Speaking of our Evolve days, shout out to Chris Bonjour. I know you were in the building in LA as well. I saw your pictures. I sees it. I sees it. And yeah, man, it was a damn good time. And then we had Friday night. We went to the WrestleCon after party. Shout out to Mega Ran hosting the WrestleCon after party at the Globe Theater. It was bro, some bitch. Kid me was having a damn good time because I grew up watching young Mickie James, and we were kicking it backstage with Mickie James before she performed and did her thing, which you can see bits and pieces of that if you go check out our YouTube channel if you guys are new here. And dude, that was badass. And I just got to say, Mickie is still stunning, first of all, and could not have been more cool, dude. And then Platinum Max Caster got up there and kicked ass, except his set got cut short. So other than that, dude, it was dope. And I ran into past guest of the show, Boom Boom Colt Cabana. So yeah, dude, the WrestleCon after party was pretty fucking badass.
Hell yeah, dude. Colt Cabana. That's the name I like to hear in wrestling, man. He's been around. I remember seeing him at BCWA. Stand up, dude.
We interviewed him at BCWA. That, like I said, dude, that night was badass. They had some chick that got signed by AEW as well, who was doing like karaoke before that, basically. But yeah, man, it was pretty wild, but it was funny as hell, dude. So we're sitting backstage on the steps to the side of the stage, and so they come bringing this dude in a suit back through the curtain, and all it looks like is he got his nose busted. And I'm like, damn, did he get his shit rocked? And then I come to find out he was the one that had dropped his drink on the stage and then was so drunk that he fell down the stairs and had busted his face. So yeah, that was pretty gnarly. That's a good way to go out in a suit.
You're always gonna have that guy at the party, right? It is what it is. These things happen.
You're not lying, dude. It it was something else, but I gotta say, Mickie James is very good live. For any of you guys who have ever heard her theme song and all that stuff, she definitely can throw down on the stage as well. And Mega Ran doing his thing as well. MCing the event. So not a bad way to spend a Friday.
What does Mega Ran not do, man? Jeez, the guy's everywhere, man. That's the guy who probably don't sleep. He's always working on something, man. It's crazy.
And doing dad duty. Bro.
Shout out to Mega Ran, bro.
It's yeah, man. It's always a good time when I get to link up with him. Shout out to Chicago Rob, holding it down with me all weekend, and Marcos as well, aka Tyrus. Tyrus's doppelganger. Yeah, it was good times, dude. I ran into so many people, dude. I ran into homies from New Orleans. I ran into homies from Chicago. Made new friends, Mega Ran from Arizona. I ran into Lindsay and Jake, Chris, and all kinds of people that we've had on the show. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can bring to the show as well. I guess that brings us to night number 1 of WrestleMania. And yes, Brock, I've got it playing right here. I can't argue that. Entrance of the weekend for me 100% has to go to Rey Mysterio. What were your thoughts on the entrances, J-Bone?
Dude, how can you go wrong riding in the low rider, drop top, California, Los Angeles with Snoop Dogg of all people? Dude, Ray's entrance killed it. Had to have been the best entrance of the weekend, dude. Coming out and then to pay homage to Eddie Guerrero with Eddie's music to kick it off. Nothing but a G thing. That was dope. That was pretty cool. I did like Dominic's entrance though. Creative.
Dude, his shit was dope too. The mask was sweet. The jacket was sweet. But did you see how they put a clip of Auschwitz in there and how they had to quickly edit that out?
I was like, oh, that's weird. Yeah, caught that. Very, very, very bad placement.
Yeah, that probably didn't go over very well once people realized that. But my thing is, how'd they not notice that before they put it out?
Like who's in charge of this? Like who's
yeah.
Nobody
sounds
check that out before we went on.
Sounds intentional.
Yeah, probably. Other entrance though, the Demon, Finn Balor, and Edge. I really wish, like I tweeted this out, not that big of a deal. So if I get any flack on that, it's not that big of a deal. But I really wish it was dark in that arena when that went down. I don't know how it was there, Kyle, but on TV there was no hiding anything. It was just plain light. You know what I mean? So those two entrances would have been badass in the dark. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes we can't have it.
I agree with that. And well, here was my other thing with that too. Like so they put on the screen that it was the Brood Edge, but my thing is, if it's going to be the Brood Edge, then why didn't we? If it's going to be Brood Edge, then how come you didn't have him come out to the Brood music?
Yeah, there was nothing. And I'd read reports that Gangrel was flown out there to be involved in some way, shape, or form with that, and also nothing. His jacket, his ring jacket, even said the Brood and had a picture of the Brood on the back. So I don't know if we missed something or something didn't go right, something didn't go as planned. Maybe I'm not really sure.
Last minute change, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with there. I was really hoping that we'd see something like that because I was always a huge fan of the Brood, man. Like, I love that he still came up out of the fire. Like, I'm not saying the music that they used was like bad or anything. It just, like I said, those were like those little details that we talk about. That would have been badass to see in that entrance. But then Finn had a badass entrance, his opponent in that as well. Like, I've always loved that demon character, dude, and the canisters he had that had all the smoke coming out, and it looked kind of cool with like the purple the purple lighting instead of the all black and red, you know what, because of the Judgment Day stuff. It all in all, dude, I thought those were the best entrances, but like you said, both of them for Ray and Dom was badass. I've actually got that match playing in the background right now, man, and that was one of my favorite matches too of the weekend.
Yeah,
like that match was solid.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. That was one of those matches where storytelling meant everything. You know what I mean? And we talked about it before the weekend started, man. It was going to do a lot for Dominic Mysterio, and it did. Even though he didn't pick up the win, that match, he won that match. Let's just say it that way. Even though he didn't pick up the win officially, he won in that match. So shout out to both of those guys. Remember the belt spot, Kyle? How was that crowd reaction while you were there when Ray was whooping his ass in the corner with the belt? Because on TV, it was loud as hell.
So I'm not going to hold you up. I didn't realize he had the belt at first, but then I mean, dude, that place was rocking both days. Definitely more packed night 2 than it was night 1. But man, they said between 2 days you had 161,000 motherfuckers in that arena.
I can't say I'm surprised, but yeah, that's a lot of motherfuckers.
That's 161,000 people, dude. And I mean, it was the energy was electric. That stadium is beautiful too, by the way. Like that place is dope. The only bad thing is, even though it's got a roof over it, it's open air, and since it was so breezy in California, bro, it kind of got cold. Yeah, but all in all, Ray versus Dom was one of my favorite matches of the whole weekend. I I loved that the LWO come out. I hope that we keep seeing more of that. Like, I hope it's not just like, okay, we're going to do it for the weekend because he's going into the Hall of Fame and because Conan's here. But I loved it. I'm a sucker for tying in the little details. So I love the revamp of the LWO. Matter of fact, I saw a tweet from Vicky Guerrero where she said she thinks that Eddie would be smiling down and sitting on the corner. So I don't know, man. I was a big fan of that match. I agree with you. And then Brock talking about the Hell in a Cell match. If he'd have seen Gangrel and Christian, it would have been awesome. But Christian, I wasn't really expecting, being that he's with AEW, but I definitely thought that we might see Gangrel there. Also with wow, I skipped over NXT Stand and Deliver as well. Before we finish up WrestleMania, dude, NXT Stand and Deliver was dope too. We got to go in the Spotify suites. That was badass. Shout out to Spotify. You know, you can check us out on Spotify if you guys listen to podcasts and all that stuff. If you weren't aware, we appreciate the ratings, and I appreciate the 5-star ratings that have been coming on Apple Podcasts as well. But yeah, man, we were up in the Spotify suite up there in the crypto.com arena, aka Staples Center. It was pretty badass time. First time I ever been in a suite like that one. That was pretty cool. Shout out to Stand and Deliver. The women's ladder match was pretty dope. That back bump that Tiffany Stratton took off the ladder was fucking gnarly. Oh my God.
That's what I just thought, like, there's so many matches and so many moments throughout the weekend. I completely forgot about that. And that was the kickoff NXT Stand and Deliver. Like, banger match, dude. Wild match. Very wild.
We got two new champions, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's one thing that definitely seems to be a common theme is with there being so much action on the weekend and stuff with indie events and actual Mania itself, the Raw after and all that. I'm sure it's easy to lose track if you are somebody that's able to do all those type of things, or even just watching them from home. It's got to be hard to try to remember all the details of what just took place.
Trying to keep up the schedule at home. You're like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go cook some food. And it's like, oh wait, I just missed a whole show, and then it's show after show. The Hall of SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, NXT. Dude, it's an entire week. Just clear your schedule because you're gonna be in front of the TV 90% of the weekend. That's for sure.
And you're not even somebody that actually did the you're not even on location trying to get to all these buildings and stuff.
Yeah,
dude, and that was the thing. Being at the WrestleCon hotel actually kind of saved us low key because we didn't have to take as many lifts and stuff like that. But like, bro, it was something because we were all over the place with having a table at WrestleCon and all that stuff as well. But boy, they were making some money in that mug. But back to WrestleMania, man. I liked Ray versus Dom. Charlotte versus Rhea, though. Jesus.
It's another one.
That was a banger. Shout out to Rhea Ripley getting the dub, your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Way to call your shot against the greatest female wrestler out in the game right now and take her down at WrestleMania. And then come out the next night on Raw and tell the Raw champ that you want smoke. So what were your thoughts on Rhea versus Charlotte, J-Bone?
Oh, dude, classic. That's going to go down as one of the classic women's WrestleMania matches. And like you said, shout out to Rhea for calling her shot, man. She's a star in the making. I don't think there's any doubt in that. She is definitely the next coming of whatever type of superstar that's going to be. And she's on a run right now. That SmackDown Women's title is looking good on her, man. And it ain't going to go nowhere for a while. Maybe until we get to a unification or something, but banger match. That's another one of those matches that I think we said it last week. It could take over the weekend. It could be the match of the weekend, and it's definitely up there.
I mean, dude, there's no way to argue that. I mean, I think Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte a couple years ago at WrestleMania was one of the matches of the night, and they definitely lived right back up to that with what they did with WrestleMania. So dude, it was like I said, that was a badass match. I really like we were saying on the pre-show call, man. Like I really kind of hope that this leads to them unifying the women's tag title or the women's titles as well.
Yeah, that's especially if the belts stay where they're at right now. You're looking at Bianca versus Rhea Ripley to unify the titles. That's that's your 2 stars right there. You know what I mean? That's the future of the business right there in women's wrestling. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. That would be a huge match.
Can't argue that. With that being said, who do you think wins?
Oh, man. You know, it's a tough. No, it's not. I'd take Bianca. I'd take Bianca Belair.
Wow.
Oh, really?
See, I disagree. I think with the role that Rhea's on, if that's the rate we're going and Bianca being on her role for a little bit, I don't know, man. Rhea's going to be a hard motherfucker to beat.
That's one of those legacy matches, you know? That's a Brett versus Shawn match. That's just a legacy match, dude. When it comes to and those two clash to unify the belts even bigger, that right there, that's like, hey, who are we going to put the company, you know, who's going to carry the company through the women's division for the next 10 years, probably. So that's going to be an important match. I'm hoping it's Bianca.
I mean, you're not wrong, dude. That's going to be a badass. It's going to be a badass match whenever it happens. I hope they do it soon, but like I say, SummerSlam in Detroit would be a beautiful place to do it. Ford Field's got all the amenities, and they don't got the open air, so we ain't gonna be getting that cold ass air.
Anyway, it could be cold in August for those who don't live in Michigan. It could be.
Shut the fuck up. Michigan can have all four.
Like you haven't lived here your whole life. You know,
Michigan could have all. I have, and that's why I said shut up, because Michigan could have all 4 seasons in one day, and I would kick you in the nuts if it falls on SummerSlam day.
Even in the summertime.
I'm just saying, I would kick you in the nuts if that happened when that wasn't going to happen. I also really liked the entrance from Cena. You know, we were talking about entrances. I really thought that was dope how they brought the Make-A-Wish kids out onto the stage with him, you know, when he did his entrance against past guest of the motherfucking show, Austin Theory, who I think got the much needed W. I think what a win for him to be, you know, able to get a win over his idol. He said it here on the show that John Cena was one of his inspirations getting into wrestling. So for him to beat John and that to be his big standout win on WrestleMania 39 was insane. So what did you think about Cena Theory, J-Bone?
Well, that's a career highlight right there for that young man. That right there is saying, hey, bro, you're the future. You're going to get this big win. That, once again, we've been talking legacy. That's a legacy match for him. That is going to be his standout match for a long time. But it's kind of like a passing of the torch in a sense. You know what I mean? Cena, you know, going out like that clean. It's just, if that's not symbolism, come on, at WrestleMania, huge.
She's been a star on the build for a while, bro. And there's no way to argue it. Like she's a savage. Period. I don't know how else to put it. Rhea couldn't have been more of a sweetheart when we met her, but man, inside that ring, I find it hard for any female to be getting a dub over Rhea Ripley for that SmackDown championship. The last thing we got to talk about, you know, did anybody else here realize that main event being that tag team title match is the first time they've had a tag team match as the main event since WrestleMania 1?
No,
I did.
I definitely did not.
I was reading all the stats. Well, not all of them, but most of them. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, think about it. Tag team wrestling's coming full circle, especially that particular story. I don't think you could have put a more important match in that position. You know what I mean? So
the only other argument would have been maybe Rhea and Charlotte, but even that, I think story wise, Kevin and Sammy was versus the Usos was the thing. And I mean, with the way the bloodline story's been going and all that stuff, it's no big surprise there. But dude, that crowd was hot for that match. And when Kevin and Sammy got that 3 count, dude, that was pretty badass.
Was it one of the LOD pop? You know what they say? Was it a big boom when he counted the 3?
Give him a Road Warrior pop. I don't know if it was a Road Warrior pop, but yeah, dude, everybody popped for them winning. It was loud. The energy was in there, dude. Everybody's loving KO and Sammy. We'll see what happens. I know they were on the Today Show with Bianca Belair this morning, so they're already getting their TV time. And I want to be like Sammy when I grow up, because dude, he don't care. He just stays, keeps it G. Just got his T-shirt on, even on the Today Show and all that. You know what? I just want to give Sammy a shout out, dude. The former honorary use.
WrestleZania, Mr. WrestleZania.
Yeah, dude. WrestleZania was in effect night 1 for sure. All right. And like I said, dude, shout out to Adam Cole, dude. Like, we got to link up with them at the hotel bar, and dude, he's a huge Mega Ran fan, which if you're a hip hop fan, you need to check him out. Wrestling is real, people are fake. Out now everywhere is a badass EP. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And yeah, man, I sat there and chopped it up. We chopped it up about Resident Evil and the Resident Evil remake and Hogwarts, and we're talking all video games, man. Adam Cole gets down on that Twitch, but yeah, like I said, Adam Cole could not have been cooler, dude. Definitely. I mean, he is, but we even shot the shit about that one time that he sang Teenage Dirtbag all around the Knights of Columbus and Livonia. Cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag. Yeah, dude, it was good times, dude. Like, just the wide array of people you end up around. Fucking RVD, Sabu, D'Lo. We chopped it up with D'Lo Brown in the bar. The greatest European champion ever from Bangor, Maine, or Lisbon, Portugal, or Madrid, Spain, every week moving to defend that European championship. And that chest protector playboy, let me come off the top rope, crush your ribs real quick. It was, yeah, dude. It was dope to get the lowdown from D'Lo Brown. Like I said, just some of the people you end up around and stuff you end up doing with that stuff, dude, was a good time. And then, if that wasn't enough, we did shots of Japanese whiskey with the Nasty Boys. So
what? That now, come on, if that ain't a rock star moment, with Knobs, right?
Knobs definitely finessed us, though. But yeah,
hey, you get to say you're doing Japanese shots with Brian Knobs, bro. You made it. I don't care what anybody says.
You made it. Yeah, even though he wouldn't let us get out of there without getting a picture, he finessed us. But hey, brother, you got to make your money. But it was a good time. Shout out to Johnny from the Nerd Bar, dude. You're right. Knobs telling us stories about when they faced the Steiner brothers, and that the Steiner brothers, that match with the Steiner brothers at Halloween Havoc is how they went up to WWF. So it's always cool to hear all the stories that you hear as well when you're up there, because you always end up in the most random of situation and stuff like that. Shout out to Santana Jackson. We're gonna have to make that happen, have him moonwalk his way onto the show. It was good times. I was moonwalking pretty good after I picked up them taxes, which means you got to make sure you get your shit together with G3 payroll and tax. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you, and check out that link. I don't know, man. WrestleMania night 2. The arena was definitely more packed for night 2 than it was night 1. Not that it wasn't packed night 1 either, but yeah, dude, it was packed. Everybody wanted to see Cody versus Roman. That bitch was packed to the rafters. So look up whatever the number of max capacity they could have had in there. They said 161,000 over 2 nights. It was pretty gnarly. What were your thoughts on night 2, J-Bone, and what were some of your highlights?
Oh, man. Night 2, once again, banger card, man. I'll tell you what, the main event, we'll get to it when we get to it in a minute, but the main event delivered. It definitely had that big fight feel. Like, everybody was buzzing going to that main event. I remember seeing people on Twitter, like, between the main event and the co-main event there was like, it's too long. We can't sit here and wait no more. Like, come on, let's go. Like people were loving it, dude. But the rest of the card, who else was on that card? Bianca and Asuka, perhaps one of the top matches of the weekend. Omos and Brock Lesnar. Believe it or not, I was thoroughly entertained with that. All I wanted to see was Brock get him over his head. That's really all I cared about. I didn't really care much about anything else.
Did anybody really question if Brock Lesnar is going to get him over his head? I mean, let's think, dude. He picked the Big Show's big ass up and threw him like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Like I said, it's always impressive to see Omos and how big he is because matching him up with a guy like Brock.
Imagine standing next to him.
It's just crazy to see him tower over Brock Lesnar. You know, it's just you've never really seen that. So, yeah, good.
That
good
was
match.
definitely a visual. It was like this generation's Hogan Andre. I feel like
pretty much. Yeah, you always got those big man matches: Kane and Khali, Hogan Andre.
That's
two big meaty men smacking
that's
meat.
adequate.
Yeah,
that's an adequate comparison. I just feel like one side of this comparison isn't quite as legendary, so it's not as like monumentous. You know,
you're right. No, you're right. Absolutely.
Definitely doesn't have the same heat behind it as Hogan Andre, but size-wise and comparison-wise, and I mean, shout out to Omos, dude. He's a really cool dude. You know, it's funny every time we see him, man. Like he was introducing us to his godson because he didn't think I don't think Rand thought it was his godson. He's like, "What do you mean? That's my godson." It was yeah, dude. It was it's always good to see the big man, dude. But dude. You're not kidding. I probably like come up to like the guy's stomach, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
what is he? 7'4", 7'5"?
7'4", 7'5".
Huge, dude.
That's a big motherfucker.
I want no smoke with that dude.
No.
I really don't.
No.
All you got to do is just swing that big tree trunk, and then you're fucked. It's
like dude. If you ever play video games and you're fighting one of them bosses with like really long, he's just tall and long. You just got to get in and get out. You know, that's the whole strategy with that. You can't let him get them big hands on you, man.
You're not wrong, dude. It's definitely a sight to see, but he's such a cool dude as well. It's so we talked Omos and Brock. I really enjoyed Helen.
I got a question. This is kind of like a poll, and I think Corey can give his opinion on this one. What up, Nate?
What up, Nate?
I think Corey can give his opinion on this one, being Snoop was there, and our buddy Patty Mack returned on night 1 to take on the Miz, and then night 2 was Shane O'Mac, and we've seen how that kind of went down. Snoop Dogg saves the day.
Those J's were crispy for Patty Mack.
Which segment was more entertaining? The Snoop Dogg one or Pat McAfee?
Well, for obvious reasons, I'm gonna say Pat McAfee because I feel so bad for Shane McMahon, dude. Like literally the first spot comes down and his quad rolls up his leg, and the irony being that happened to his dad when he came strutting out to the ring at the Royal Rumble, goes to roll in the ring and just his quad rolls up his leg and he's got to get carried out of there.
Family,
I felt bad. I just
family.
felt so bad, dude, because you could see it on his face, dude. Like when they brought him out like right through where we were at, and like, dude, it looked gnarly. But shout out to Snoop. I mean, they improvised about as good as you could have really asked him to when you consider like he dropped, I guess, a people's elbow.
They called it. Michael Cole called it the doggy elbow, and I about lost my shit.
The doggy style elbow.
God. Yeah. Shout out to Snoop though. Way to improvise, man. Way to keep it rolling. Good for him.
Ain't nothing but a Jeep thing, baby. But it was you're not kidding, dude. He definitely killed that. Let's see. In the Hell in a Cell versus Finn versus Edge, man, both those entrances were badass. We talked about the entrances. The match was badass as well. Thank you, God. There was no red Hell in a Cell. But then we had red kendo sticks and red chairs.
Yeah.
Why do we need the red? Why do we need the red like paraphernalia? That's just
It's good shit, Kyle. It's good shit.
Does anybody else got a good reason for why the hell we need red chairs and kendo sticks or anything? I would love to hear it in the comments.
That was your first sign at old Vinnie Mac taking control again. That's what that was.
We need red chairs out there, pal. They can't be the tan chairs. Got to be red chairs, pal. It's got to pop so they see it from the seats.
God, how? Yeah, that's exactly probably how that.
Can we, since we're addressing this whole thing real quick, can we talk about Vince's mustache that he's rocking right now? What's going on with that, boys? I mean, I've taken some chances with facial hair in my life. Most of them always boil down to just growing it back out. But what is that look, especially for a multi-billionaire? I mean, you know, what it reminded me of is you guys know
Hitler,
the owner of the Raiders, Mark
Al Davis,
who his name.
He was in. It was Al Davis. Al Davis was in the front row at WrestleMania 2, right behind the commentators.
With that wild ass haircut, you know, just like not giving a shit. That's what it reminded me of. It was like he's got to know that wasn't a good look, and he was just like, you know what? I'm doing it anyway. On the time that I sell my family's company that we've like worked our whole lives to build up to this point, that's when I'm gonna rock the evil villain mustache. I just want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Exactly what it was, too. The evil villain mustache. He is, dude. That's great.
I don't know, like the dyeing the hair after we all know your hair is gray.
That's one thing.
That's like
reasonable.
That's like, you know, it's like it's like back in the day, you know, all the wrestlers used to dye their hair and stuff like that, and it's just like, you got to change the hair. I'm back. It's like he's single again. He had to make himself. Make sure he's ready.
Up a little bit, yeah.
I don't know about the mustache though.
Had to show the bitches he still got it. You know what I'm saying? Had to pull the card out.
You mean to tell me nobody said, "Hey, Vince"? Out of all the people that are around you, all the people that like you know, and people that like are under you, like nobody said, you know. It's
maybe the time that possibly is one of the biggest moments in WWE history isn't the moment to like try some shit out with your look, is all I'm trying to say. Yeah. Call me crazy.
Well, I mean, when you make $21 billion, you can say fuck you, I guess.
True. I mean, that was a true like fuck you moment. That was like
with that kind of money. With that kind of money on that weekend, it's just who gives a shit stash, pretty much.
That stash though, boys. When I first seen that, I was like, whew. It literally took me aback.
I thought it was
where it like knocks the wind out. It literally took me aback in my chair. I'm like,
I seen the first picture on Twitter of it, and I was like, what? Somebody made a picture of him like that? So then I like looked at it, searched it, and I'm like, no. And I seen another angle. I'm like, what? No way, dude. He did it. He did it. The man's got great fruits. Yes.
I mean, he's told us that since I was a kid, J-Bone. I mean, that's nothing new. WrestleMania night 2, though, bro. Cody versus Roman. That's the reason we were all there. Obviously, Cody came up short. Before I give my thoughts, what were your thoughts on that match?
I want to ask you guys, before you even really get into the analyst part, are you guys really surprised with the outcome? I've seen a bunch of stuff come out with like,
damn Cody straight. What's good, Devin?
Cody Rhodes.
Hola, muchacho.
He's a huge favorite in the live betting odds now that WWE is apparently gambleable, and he's a huge betting favorite in this, that, and the other. And I'm like sitting there thinking the whole time, I'm like, nah, fucking Roman's still gonna win this shit. It wasn't that much of a surprise to me, at least as an outsider's perspective. I want to get the hardcore thoughts though.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead, man. I want to know what you thought from the TV screen.
I am surprised that they didn't go with Cody, but I'm also not surprised because as wrestling shows it, man, that's what they're here to do. Take you up and down emotionally, take you on a roller coaster ride. Everybody knew Cody was going to take home this championship. We rode that emotional wave since last year's WrestleMania, and they shut it down because they don't want it to be now. The time isn't now. And I'm okay with it. I was wrong. I thought it was going to go to Cody, but I'm okay with it because, like they were saying on Busted Open, if Cody wins, the story's over. Then where do we go from there? What does Roman do from there? Not to mention we're so close to these record-breaking numbers for Roman Reigns. It's not going to hurt. And at the very end, it makes us hate him even more that the babyface didn't win it, man. So it all makes sense. This is wrestling, boys. This is how we say, hey, you're not right all the time. And guess what? It can't be a happy story all the time. So here we are. Just stay tuned. It's going to happen.
Like you said, with it being so close, and I know me and you, Kyle, had a conversation a couple days up beforehand talking about the 1,000-day thing being brought up and stuff like that. I was like, man, now's not the time. It's just not. Now's not the time. You did a great job. I know, Kyle, you were talking all this about you did such a thing with building up Cody Rhodes to this point that if you don't essentially do it now, you're wasting a moment. But I feel as though it still wasn't the time. I don't know. It just still wasn't the time. Yeah.
They definitely missed a moment. But it's just, I don't think it's gonna pay off later. Yeah, you missed the WrestleMania moment, but he finally does win it. People are gonna be so invested because they seen him lose. They seen him get so close and lose. This is all a story.
And
so
he got screwed. That's the thing.
Story.
I think that was the perfect way if he's going to lose to have Dove lost because, I mean, yeah, he lost, but it took the Usos and Solo Sikoa to do it. And, and then, man, Cody is going to be the ultimate underdog at this point because then you got Devin's got it. There you go. The money's in the chase for the title. Kofi Mania was great. What happened afterwards?
Until it was over. Right? We had nothing left.
You're right. And another thought that was brought up by like Marcos and them, we were out there, is that like you're exactly right, Devin, in that the money is in the chase, in that Cody's only really been back in WWE for about a year. So you got to realize, and this is something that I thought from sitting in the seats. Again, how often do you hear an AEW fan that says, okay, I don't watch WWE, or a WWE fan that doesn't watch AEW, doesn't watch the indies and all that stuff too. So if you don't watch the indies, you don't watch AEW, then you don't know what Cody was doing while he was away from Ring of Honor. So you may either, if you were old enough to be able to remember it or go with it, then you may remember him from his Evolution days or Stardust or Dashing Cody Rhodes. But if you're not from then, like if you're a younger fan and you don't watch AEW like that, you don't know what he did in Ring of Honor. You don't know what he did going to the indies and all those things. So I feel like they're trying to continue to establish him to the WWE audience and make him the ultimate sympathetic babyface. I mean, especially by what happened with Raw last night, with it being Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar, jumps Cody afterwards, man. They're just building Cody up into a bigger babyface. Now, as far as the missed moment, I think it's a missed moment in the fact that you're not going to do another show that's going to have the same amount of people in it as WrestleMania is. But at the same time, it can be a big pop where it happens. I could see it happening, especially since they haven't been there in a while. I could see it happening at Money in the Bank. Hell, bring it to SummerSlam. Let him win that bitch at Ford Field. I'm just saying there's a lot of different options.
Now, Kyle, tell me this, though. Do you think the Cody title win, when it happens, because I think it's going to happen, he's next, but do you think it's still going to have that important feel as it would have been at WrestleMania?
I think it's still going to be an important feel, but like what Devin's saying, you had the feel good moment night one with Sammy and Kevin. You got what you wanted, but now the story gets better with Roman winning, and now the Usos have to answer to the tribal chief. That's what I was saying from the seats. You're getting the first cracks of the bloodline. And that was Cody's ultimate goal anyway. So I could see him and Brock, Brock kind of taking him off the path until we get to Puerto Rico, and then again, by the time we get to Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or whatever, I see Cody being back in there. Because realistically, when you talk about baby faces to take out Roman, because even though a lot of people like Roman, he's still the heel realistically. So if Cody can win and fight his way back up there again and then go fight Roman and then take the belt off him, it definitely would be a big pop as well. So, I mean, I totally understand a lot of people being pissed off with that. I do think they kind of missed a little bit of a moment. But at the same time, I also would counter that by saying, what about the bigger moment that I think was missed was the fact that you have Asuka, who's doing the mist and doing all these things. And then you got the great Muda, who's the originator of that, and you didn't do anything with it. That to me is the bigger injustice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the EST, but I'm tired of seeing Asuka get beat like she ain't nothing.
Yeah, if you're gonna, you can only do that play so many times, unless all of a sudden there's some massive transition in their game where it's noticeable on a fan's end and stuff. But yeah, you can only play that card so many times. Where
she's 0-5 at WrestleMania. That's ridiculous.
That's
man.
not good. Yeah,
Asuka,
and she's so good.
Come on,
shit. In NXT, she was a fucking killer.
Yeah.
In Japan, she was a killer.
Yeah. We'll see. I know, Kyle, you mentioned the tweet earlier when we were talking. I don't remember exactly how it went, but she was kind of hinting maybe she should head back to Japan.
Maybe I should go back to Japan, but essentially she felt like her WWE fans would miss her, and then she said, let's bring chaos to WWE, or let's bring chaos to the boring women's division, and let's bring chaos to WWE.
I mean, that's one way to call them out. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, do it, man. Asuka's crazy. I love her, man. I wouldn't have been upset if she went over at Mania. I'd love to see
Forbidden
that.
Door.
Forbidden Door. Let's go. I would love to see that. I'd love to see Asuka anywhere, to be honest. Asuka she needs to be a free roamer, just wrestle everywhere. She could have so many great matches with all these women.
I mean, Asuka versus Sasha. Yeah, that could be Mercedes Moné versus Asuka at Forbidden Door would be nuts, or Kana at Forbidden Door. But the thing is, I don't know that could happen because it all depends on where her contract's at. Like, if her contract isn't at the point where she could leave, like if she was at the end of her deal, we can speculate till we're blue in the face, but there ain't no way the WWE is going to let her just walk over there to AEW either.
Yeah,
no,
I'm sure.
I just that would be the tie up for me. So I think it all kind of depends on the timing of the contract and all those things. Plus, AEW's got a lot of stars over there, so you keep adding people. There's only so many spots you got. Forbidden Door 2024. I mean, whenever her contract's up, it's definitely an option, dude.
She's got to be thinking about it. I mean, it's not like it's a secret.
Well, clearly she is. She's tweeting about going back to Japan.
So that could start to affect some negotiations, man. So it remains to be seen. I'd love that though.
In Detroit. Forbidden Door 2024 is in Detroit. Is that what you're saying? If that's the case, I'm cool with that. I went to it in Chicago, and it'd be nice not to have to drive like that. But again, shout out to the EST. She's now 3-0 at WrestleMania, and I mean, I'm not mad at all with her winning. I just am tired of seeing it look like Asuka is going to be is getting jobbed out. I don't understand that stuff. That's just gnarly, but he said it should be. I wouldn't be mad at that. Speaking of that, what are your thoughts on the main event, bro? Or no, before we get to the main event, triple threat match. Sheamus, Gunther, and Drew McIntyre may have stole the fucking show, and boy, were they beating the hell out of each other.
That one hurt. That was one that hurts to watch, man. Very aggressive, very violent. The chops echoing through SoFi Stadium. But I'm glad Gunther got the win, man. That's another one of those matches. It's like a legacy match between three heavy hitting dudes right there with similar styles. You know what I mean? So I think the right guy won that match. But that definitely could have stole the show for me. Another top match.
Dude, those guys' chests were beat up like hamburger meat after that, dude. And I mean, Gunther is definitely cementing himself as one of the great Intercontinental champions. The reign of Gunther and Imperium continues. It's, I mean, dude, it's shame, and it was cool after the fact. You saw Sheamus and Drew kind of hug each other after it was over and all that stuff. But dude, Gunther is just money, dude. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts. Like I feel like he's just kind of waiting in the wings, and at some point is going to be next up. And when he's next up, he's going to be an issue, man.
Oh, 100%, man. He's the future of that type of, Drew, Sheamus, Gunther. They all have similar styles, and he's definitely like the next coming of that person. But that Intercontinental Championship, I don't think that's going anywhere for a while. There's one guy I think would be cool for him to challenge for it, but I don't think that's happening yet. At least that's as of Monday Night Raw. We're not going to see this guy that I'm talking about. I'm talking about Braun Breaker anyway.
All right. Just Nate. And his name is Walter. His mama named him Walter, so I'm going to call him Walter.
I agree. It's so hard to break that habit.
His name is Walter. I'm going to call him Walter. I like it. See, Devin, this is why we got to get you back on the show for one of these, dude.
I want to see Walter versus Braun Breaker for the IC title when Braun makes the call up, whenever that is, because I thought it was going to be Monday.
Yeah, you and me both. We're going to talk about Monday here in a second. Yeah, man, I'm with you guys on that one. It's an interesting situation because Braun Breaker, had his run as champion. He lost the title to Carmelo Hayes at NXT Stand and Deliver. Ring the bell! I was there. But with that being said, I feel like Gunther isn't losing this belt for a while, and when he does, it's going to be reminiscent of what the old Intercontinental title signified, in that he's next up for the champion, because, boy, him and Roman would be a banger.
Oh, yes. And, the reign that he's having, the Intercontinental Championship needs that. We need prestige to that title again. It hasn't been like that for a long time, and now it's really starting to matter, especially with Walter holding on to it.
Yeah, this is the first time I've heard the Intercontinental brought up since I was a kid, it seems like. And I'm hearing it from quite a few different media outlets and stuff that even halfway cover it. So, yeah, I would say he's definitely making some waves with that belt.
Well, not only that, dude. Like, you got the Intercontinental belt is definitely got its history. It's rooted in there. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you have the one champion, because now that you have the one champion, it makes those secondary belts mean more, which kind of makes my point to why I hope they don't split the belts back up. But yeah, I feel like, to your point, Corey, I do feel like there's a lot more prestige on the Intercontinental title. But again, I think that's because there's only the one champion. Could we see Solo Wow, that's an idea. So could we see Solo unify the IC and US titles? He says he's ready. Well,
I'm cool with
I wouldn't be mad at it, but I feel like those two titles, though, I feel like it's good to keep like the one title on each show for those, for like the secondary titles. So I don't know that we necessarily need to see those unified, but I like the single champions as far as the world title and all that kind of stuff. So I would like to see things kept that way. The IC is doing its thing, but I feel like if you combine the IC and the US title, then you're going to kind of pigeonhole yourself too, because then you may have the Intercontinental title on Raw, but then the WWE champion and the Intercontinental on SmackDown. So it's like, or not the WWE championship in the US on SmackDown. So then it may make it to where people want to watch SmackDown more than they do Raw. So I feel like part of that's done so that they can balance out the ratings for the stuff to try to keep it well balanced as far as what's going where and when. What are your thoughts on Cody versus Roman, bro?
Like I said, man, it can't always be a great story. All right, Devin. it can't always be a happy story. You know what I mean? If there wasn't heartbreak in wrestling, it'd never be so cool to see the good guy win, right? I mean, I feel like that's a thing.
Yeah.
So that's just where we are right now. Was it a missed WrestleMania moment? Sure. But we're in for bigger shit when it comes to the story. The story is still going. We're still invested. And that's what wrestling is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Stories. Telling stories. So I'm cool with it.
I mean, especially with the elements that they had on Raw with Brock and all that stuff as well, being, Heyman's obvious history with Brock Lesnar. And now you got Brock versus Cody. Now that Brock's kind of turning heel, what if Heyman went and was with Roman and Brock?
Dude, honestly, and when that first happened and I seen Brock put him up like that, I thought he was gonna walk over and like shake hands with Paul Heyman again and like embrace the bloodline. That would have fucking threw me for a loop right there. You know what I mean? Maybe he's not in the bloodline, but just still affiliated with Paul Heyman, walking around with those guys, dude. That's what I thought was gonna happen. But as far as Cody, I mean, Cody and Brock's gonna be great. They're gonna bring the best out of each other. That's gonna be a great match, but it's just another brick in the wall of the story that we're building. You know what I mean? So we got to see Cody fall before he gets his big win, dude. So it is what it is. I'm with it.
I mean, we'll have to see, bro. I mean, we saw Brock beat the holy hell out of Cody at the end of Raw for like the last 15 to 20 minutes, bro. It was bananas.
And here's the thing, as wrestling fans, don't you kind of beat yourself up for trusting Brock Lesnar? I mean, come on. It's Brock Lesnar, dude. What did you think was going to happen? Right?
Brock don't give a shit about nobody but himself.
Right. Brock ain't on nobody's team. He's just there to whoop ass.
And do you think he's really going to put himself in jeopardy to where he can never win the title again? I'm kind of with you. We all got bamboozled by by the beast incarnate. What did you think of the little details as well, like Heyman going back into the locker room and being like, I talked to him, you know what I mean? Like throwing those little cliffhangers like something was going to happen. Did you have any thoughts or notice any of the little extras that Heyman was throwing in with
especially that one? Like I don't think it's going to happen, but like if we see some kind of alignment between Heyman, Brock, and Roman, you know what I mean? Because I mean that'd be a great part of the story. Another added layer to that story. Now Cody's got to get through Brock and Roman, kind of thing. Without them being a tag team, Heyman can kind of just advocate for both of them. So I hope that's where we're going. That'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
I think it'd be cool, but only if it were like made into like a stable, but I don't know how that fits with like the bloodline stuff. So I still kind of think that it's going to be the same thing like what we were saying earlier, and that's going to be the cracks to the bloodline. Because I just don't see how you bring Brock into the whole bloodline storyline with it all being all the Samoans. So I'm not mad at him being with both of them again, but I don't know how that fits. Say again?
Said Sammy was in it. We like that. We're invested there.
But Brock Lesnar is a lone wolf.
Yeah, Brock can't necessarily blend in there. So
Brock can't blend in anywhere when you're built like a fucking brick shithouse and walk through with people knowing you could like throw them across the room. That tends to happen.
Yeah.
Look at Patty Mack doing the skip down to the ring to kick the Miz's ass.
It's our boy right there.
All right. A lot of the talk on social media for my last night there was after the Raw after Mania. J-Bone, what did you think of what we saw?
Raw after Mania?
Yeah.
Before we transition off, can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get to get it in while we were kind of naturally covering it here. But what do you guys think of this year's celebrity appearances? It seems like there was less of them. It seemed like it was more like the Pat McAfee thing, the Logan Paul thing, which have already made their appearances and stuff before. What's your guys' thoughts on the celebrity appearances or lack thereof compared to usual? I know you said the Snoop Dogg thing as well, but you
had George
Go ahead.
Kittle, the tight end from the Niners. George Kittle made an appearance.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean Kevin Hart was there, right? I'm trying to think of who else.
Little
couldn't tell you
Uzi Vert.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah, he did his performance, which that was such awkward timing. Like, because it was literally right before the Usos came out, and he's walking back up the ramp, they're already playing the Usos music. So it was like, get in, get out, and get done. I was just like, damn, that was quick.
Yeah.
But it's just like I said, as far as celebrities and stuff, I don't necessarily need it. Like, it doesn't.
Okay.
That part doesn't bother me. Like I said, Snoop Dogg was dope. Seeing Pat McAfee in there was great again. It sucked that Shane got hurt, because that was kind of cool too. All in all, though, dude, I thought it was a pretty good Mania. What did you think of the Raw after Mania?
It's flat for me, dude. The show, that's such a big show, and there's so many expectations for that show. The night after Mania, this one just didn't deliver for me. Besides Riddle returning, that's about all I had for me. I didn't see no NXT call-ups. I was expecting Braun Breaker. It just wasn't for me, dude. So out of all the ones I've watched throughout the years, didn't care for that one.
It wasn't the most hype. I liked the Cody versus Brock one, but overall, you're right. It wasn't the most action packed of Raws. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out. Before we get out of here, what are your guys' quick thoughts on WWE's sale to Endeavor?
Go ahead, Corey. Let's hear it. We're all coming together now.
This is literally. If this show wasn't already an amalgamation of the two combat sports, here we are even more so coming in swinging, because boy, when I woke up Monday morning, that was not what I was expecting to see on my phone. That's for damn sure.
Much less after WrestleMania. Hell no.
Yeah, I know it had been possibly rumored there a couple months ago when the sale and stuff was being talked about, but honestly, I didn't think it was a real perspective. I didn't think it was a thing that would actually happen, and I guess in retrospect, that's kind of dumb on me with everything, with the whole Ari Emanuel relationship with WWE and having been basically a lawyer for them in the past and stuff. I guess it makes more sense in hindsight, but either way, beyond the whole monetization and monopolization of combat sports, which is very, very crazy to me, that one company now basically owns the two biggest, entities in combat sports by a long shot. That's wild. But beyond that, it's just what does this really bring for the future of both companies? I mean, we've seen next to no change for the athletes and stuff when it comes to the UFC side, but yet we've seen the company itself, UFC, basically quadruple in value within like 10 years. They were before,
you just said it. That's what this is. That's what this boils down to.
Yeah,
this boils down to
that's what I was
grab.
boiling. That's what I was boiling it into. Is me and you, Kyle, had a couple conversations after the fact, and they're already talking about how they're going to be able to cut money and stuff like that to be able to further make their shareholders happy with their decision and make further potential shareholders, it's just all a stock game. And unfortunately, I feel like in the UFC, this has done nothing but hurt a lot of the athletes now that it's just kind of like it's not a like favoritism's bad in a way, but favoritism sometimes works out, especially in combat sports. for some of these athletes. And when you're looking at it for more of just a like, what do you bring me as a business? Like when everything's publicly traded and like it is now, it really murks those waters a lot, and it makes everything just so center focused on profit for the stockholders. So I personally don't always love the moves, but I don't know. I feel like it with the UFC, it didn't change the product drastically. So at least that's one thing you can say that's good. It does seem like they've been particularly money hungry since the Endeavor takeover, though, with the rising rates of pay-per-views, the whole ESPN deal, the fact that all their events for the most part are shown exclusively on ESPN Plus, which is already a subscription-based thing, kind of like what you guys are dealing with over there with Peacock. And now also we're dealing with $85 pay-per-views or whatever the hell they are nowadays. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys end up seeing that on the wrestling end here very soon.
You better not. I ain't trying to pay. I pay $5 a month for Peacock to see all the premium live events. I ain't trying to pay $60 for a wrestling pay-per-view.
Yeah, say goodbye to those.
Come on, man.
Days. Say goodbye.
I mean, if it's only for the, I think what happens really, dude, to be honest, I think you end up seeing kind of like where the big five maybe. So like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and Money in the Bank, maybe that you, I don't know about Money in the Bank, but I would think that you end up having to maybe pay for the big five, but I also think it can be good in the sense too, in that like how on UFC Fight Pass you see all of the the regional fights as well. I think it could be like the return of the WWE Network, where we were seeing some progress in WXW from England and all those kind of things. You could see more of maybe, who knows, maybe like an MLW. Well, MLW is suing WWE, so they're not going to be doing it. But you get my point. The big super indies, I could see them trying to pick up more content in that way, the same way you have the regional fights and things like that. I don't necessarily think that that's such a bad thing. And realistically, if the only ones you're going to have to pay for are the big ones like that, that's not that big a deal in my opinion, because we used to do that for all the pay-per-views anyway.
Yeah, but also you're not dealing with you're dealing with a very money hungry man in Vince McMahon, don't get me wrong, but you're dealing now with him and the
money
love. Well, it's not even Ari, it's the whole thing they have going. I don't even know how to like properly describe it, but they are just in no way in fashion interested, it seems like, in the growth besides the fact that it brings more money to the table for them. It doesn't seem
Isn't
like
that all they care about in business?
No, and not in good business, in my opinion. And in business, in like flat out like numbers games, yes, that is essentially all they care for. But when you're talking about something like sport, which is what we're talking about right now, I feel like there needs to be passion in that to keep it pristine, I guess you can say.
I don't think it's going to get that crazy at first. At first, we're just going to see a bunch of crossover, on UFC, whatever number, you're going to see a program for the next big wrestling pay-per-view. You know what I mean? And then vice versa. WWE on their premium live events are going to be promoting UFC 295. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be like that at first. We may see DC get his hands involved in WWE. We all know how DC is a WWE fan, so he might.
He's already showed his face in the ring once or
well, dude, he was already interviewing Brock Lesnar out there at WrestleMania. He interviewed a few people there.
Yeah. So
he would, and the standoff with him and Omos, and he only came up to his titties. It was funny.
Yeah. I can see things like that happening, guys like Conor McGregor now will be.
Well, Conor McGregor already told the wise man if he didn't watch his mouth, he was going to break his jaw.
Right. And this is going to make it easier, though, to bring talent in, especially for like things like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, those Survivor Series, the big pay-per-views. You are going to have access now to guys like Conor McGregor, guys like DC, and vice versa. You could sit Roman Reigns in the front row at UFC 290. I mean, it's a huge deal. So we're pretty much bridging the gap.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it all boils down to is if the creative part of it gets affected too much, because there's always been the stuff and the rumors of Vince already having his hands back and changing a lot of what was going on. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. As far as business wise, I don't think anything really changes there. I think that stays business as usual. But man, never in my lifetime did I think that the WWE was going to get sold.
Insane.
Did you think that was the one point, I guess, that got brought up earlier on the Ariel Helwani show that kind of blew my mind? Is we've already now seen the first show where Vince McMahon and the McMahon family is no longer the 51% majority stakeholders in WWE no more. They may have the controlling rights in certain aspects and stuff still, but it's definitely a new era. The fact that they're no longer the ones in control of essentially their own product that they've built.
Well, Vince McMahon controls all his intellectual property in this, though. So that was also said too. He said he's going to control all of his intellectual property. It's like I say, man. I think all in all, business wise, I don't know that it's necessarily so bad, but I think again, it's going to kind of come back to where Vince is at and what his involvement with things are going to be. I think that's really the best way to kind of put it. Also, we had Triple H come out at the beginning of Raw last night saying that everything with WWE said was going to change, or not change, but stay the same. I mean, so like I said, they're saying everything's going to stay the same. We'll see what happens. Speaking of Ariel Helwani, I saw Ariel Helwani last night. The other big thing, speaking of things of the MMA world, you had Bro. It was the return of the Bro. Matt Riddle came back. I don't know that I like the trunks. But other than that, it was cool to see the original Bro back. What'd you think of Riddle's return?
I dig that. I was hoping somebody would make a return, or at least a debut. But hey, I'm cool with Riddle, man. It's always good to have him in WWE. Very entertaining guy. But I'm with you. You could do without those trunks, dude, or go back to the trunks. It's a different vibe, different look for Matt Riddle, but it is what it is. I was hoping we get Braun, and I was hoping we get Randy, but I'm cool with Matt Riddle. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, dude, it's like I said, it's good to see Matt Riddle back. We're gonna have to see what happens. I wonder if that means we're gonna see Randy. But dude, I have flapped my fucking gums for a while. I am tired as all hell. Yeah.
The man needs sleep.
Literally, I need sleep. With that being said, there's a lot more heat coming your way. You got to make sure you hit that subscribe button. You never know who's going to come through here. Like I said, we talked to a lot of people last weekend, so you're going to want to hit that subscribe button so you can see what's happening. But if you've been following us for a little while, we've got the return of Merciless Mitch McKee before his fight for LFA April 14th. The day SummerSlam tickets go on sale. So with that being said, we're going to talk to Mitch McKee about his upcoming fight for LFA. Make sure you check us out this Thursday, 9 p.m. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until the next time and in the in-between time, it is the showcase of immortals. It is WrestleMania, and this is Knockouts and 3 Counts.